Hello, my name is Victor Favela and I'm going to present my evidence tree. Okay, first I will talk about some of the most important events of the last decade, which are a lot, but I base myself on Blackboard. The first event is the Polish legislative election 18 June 1989. People from Poland started to demand for a new political order, so in 1989 people were called for elections and the winner was Tadeusz Mazowiecki. Fall of the Berlin Wall, night of November 1989, the wall that divided Germany into two ideologies, beliefs, economies, and lives was going to be demolished, and since that date, everyone was free to travel wherever they want. German Unity Day, October 3rd, 1990. This day was the day that Germany was officially reunited. Every German was celebrating, and the Allies were sharing the joy too. Baltic states regained their independence in 1990. Estonia, Lithuania separates from the Soviet Union. And well, I think that it's very important to mention the World Wide Web creation on August 23, 1991. Actually, the World Wide Web was invented in 1989 by Tim Berners-Lee, but it was not until August 23, 1991 when the Internet was launched for the public in general. The creation of the Commonwealth of Independent States, December 21, 1991, an association of Soviet republics established by Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia tried to avoid the dissolution of the Soviet Union and administer internal issues. Yugoslav Wars, 1991. Yugoslavia found itself into a civil war between Serbs, Bosnians, Croatians, Slovakians, and other minorities that were asking for independence and recognition above others. The Persian Gulf War, 1990 and 1991. Saddam Hussein orders to aggressively attack Kuwait on August 2, 1990, and the NATO put out strict economic sanctions to Iraq, but the Iraqi troops didn't care about the sanctions, so the NATO created an army made of military from 34 countries, led by the USA obviously. The war became a bloody event that ended with the surrender of Iraq. The collapse of the Soviet Union and rise of Russia, December 25, 1991. Mikhail Gorbachev left his position, and the last time the Soviet Union flag was flown, and after that, the Russian flag emerged, marking the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. After this, 14 new countries were created, and the Cold War was over. Approval of the North American Free Trade Agreement, December 17, 1992. Brian Mulroney, Carlos Salinas de Gortari, and George Bush signed the NAFTA, a treaty between USA, Canada, and Mexico that was designed to benefit its member nations economically. Euro creation, January 1, 1999. Eurozone introduced the euro with the purpose of create a more stable economy. The countries of the Eurozone implemented a single monetary policy. 9/11 attacks, September 11, 2001. Extremists led by the terrorist Osama bin Laden performed attacks on strategic places like the Pentagon, but the worst attack was directed to the Twin Towers. Two commercial airplanes got impact on the buildings, occasioning the collapse of them and causing the death of more than 3,000 people. In consequence, the war in Afghanistan. And very important, the Syria war that started in 2011 and that we are living it right now. It started because Syrians were asking for democracy, freedom, and reforms. It was originally peaceful, but outside forces hijacked this movement for their own purposes and began using violence. In consequence, the Syrian army responded with violence, and an armed conflict started. There has been growing with scary magnitude that some people believe that this event will cause World War III. Here is what globalization means. It's Well, the definition for this word is the act of globalism, and this means that it is something that it's been extended all around the world. It is common to use this word towards the economy, communication, and goods. Terrorism. This is the use of violence to frighten people, especially civilians, and obtain a goal. It is commonly used for political issues and government resistance by a group of people. The common weapons used by terrorist people are guns and bombs. I'm sorry. Unipolar war. This term is used to describe a country that wants to dominate by its own. The end of the Cold War meant that the next decades will be dominated by only one power. Many people say that the US is trying to create a unipolar world. According to a structural realist, unipolarity is very unstable because it would all go back to multipolarity as the other powers will try to break down the strongest one. The digital era. It is a period brought by the digital revolution. Some people call it the third industrial revolution, characterized by the technology, the internet, which increases the speed and knowledge turnover within economy and society. And I see this is a powerful tool for business, economy, and political issues because it has become part of our lives and it will remain this way for many more years. Why did the globalization emerge? Well, nowadays globalization is more for economy and expansion, but I found that actually the concept of globalization is very recent, only establishing its current meaning in the 1970s, which emerged from the intersection of four interrelated sets of communities of practice. The concept of broader globalization was first introduced by historians A.G. Hopkins and Christopher Bailey. It became modern globalization in the late 19th century, and this phase of globalization was characterized by the rise of maritime European empires. In the 16th and 17th centuries, first the Portuguese and Spanish empires, and later the Dutch and British empires. I'm sorry. In the 17th century, world trade developed further when charter companies like British East India Company and the Dutch East India Company, often described as the first multinational corporation in which stock was offered, were established. In most cases, what caused the terrorist attacks of 20th century? All terrorist attacks are motivated by two things: social and political injustice. People choose terrorism when they are trying to right what they perceive to be a social, political, or historical wrong. The belief that violence means justify the end. Many terrorists in history say sincerely that they choose violence against long deliberation. And another point is religion. When people misunderstand religion, they do very bad things. How does the end of the Cold War relate with the unipolar war? Well, in 1989, the Berlin Wall fell, the first of a series of events bringing the period known as the Cold War to an end. From a state of military multipolarity, the war has processed to one bipolarity, to the current situation of unipolarity. It is difficult to see whether or not the war has become more secure following the end of the Cold War. Okay. How has the digital era influenced today's society? Okay, well, the critical role that technology plays in the development of society, stimulating not only the economy but society's social cultural values. Rather than being merely a tool of society, however, is referred to as technological determinism. Okay. Technological advancements seems important at a time to different ages in different societies, psychologically, if not practically. In a variety of modern societies, for example, young people presently feel a heightened empathy with the digital age. Um, that's all. Thank you very much.